Are we live? 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 The Devils are back to life. The Devils are live. They defeat the Los Angeles Kings by a final score of 4-1. Their two-game losing streak has been snapped. They're finally back in the win column, obviously, after winning 8 games in a row and then falling to the Colorado Avalanche, one of the best teams in the league, and then falling to one of the dregs in the league a spunky dreg of the league in the San Jose Sharks. The Devils are able to come away victorious tonight, beating Los Angeles in emphatic fashion, I would say, too. They get the victory there. And you guys get the victory here by joining us here in the post-game live stream. Thank you so much for tuning in to Speaking of the Devils. I'm your host, Ryan Novozinsky, joining you, as always, from my home studio right here in downtown Ewing, New Jersey, where I will be taking your questions and going over my notes and stuff like that from this game. Let's go over, some of the scores and things like that. This game got started. It all started with a Nico Hischier goal. Luke Hughes shot it from the point. Luke Hughes was very, very shot, kind of a shot first mentality tonight. He gets the credited with the assist there. It's his 100th NHL assist, but Nico Hischier gets the goal. Then you get the Brian Hallinan goal, too, which was a pleasant surprise, I think, for those Brian Hallinan truthers out there. Let's pin Duck Duck Goosehead's comment here because he did call this afternoon. The Hallinan would score. He's he's been very high on Hallinan himself. Dawson Mercer show. This was the Dawson Mercer show. He didn't get he nearly got a third goal there at the end to seal the hat trick, but he gets two shorthanded goals. Obviously, one coming on the empty net, so it doesn't really count, but it will count at the end of the year when when he's leading the league in shorthanded goals. He already probably has more than most teams do right now. The Devils lead the league. They're ranked first in the league in shorthanded goals with 4. So they stand above the rest of the pack. When they were at 3, they were tied with like 6 other teams, but now they stayed ahead of the pack. Let's check on this World Series. Did the Dodgers? Oh my gosh, did the Dodgers get out of that bases loaded? Sorry, I'm like multitasking here, just like the everyone was at the game. I guess they had the thing on the jumbotron there in LA. This was the Dawson Mercer show. This was the Jacob Markstrom show. Jacob Markstrom with a primary assist there on that last Mercer goal. He was on fire tonight. His first game since getting that 2-year, $12 million contract from the Devils. A lot of Devils fans skeptical about that. I gave my reasonings as to why I'm just okay with the contract earlier this afternoon. But basically, to sum up my thoughts there. Coming into it, it was like, I think that Markstrom's probably going to right the ship. I think he's going to end up being fine. And games like this prove why the Devils paid him that money. And getting him at short term obviously was a major key there. Sorry, just adjusting my little mic there. This is why he saves. I think how many saves did he have tonight? I think it was 41. 41 on 42 shots. Sorry, 43 saves on 44 shots from the Kings. The Kings are a better offensive team than I figured they would be. Put a lot of shots on net. I wonder how many shot attempts they had tonight because they were flinging it from the perimeter all night. That was an awesome game for Markstrom. Completely goalies the Kings, who definitely put a lot of shots up. Most of them, I would say, came from the perimeter, but they got their offensive chances as well. Towards the end there, like the Devils held the Kings shotless pretty much within the first 10 or so minutes of that third period. But then at the end there, LA started turning it on, getting really heavy zone time there. Kuzmenko gets the goal, and getting some great sound play in that ozone. We talked about this on the intermission stream. It looked like most of those 5-on-5 possessions looked like penalty kills for the Devils, and they had to kill off a lot of penalties tonight too. But that was for Markstrom to stop all of those opportunities, all but one, obviously. Great debut game since getting that big fat paycheck from the Devils. So that's obviously a welcome sign for Devils fans. who are just happy to be back in the win column, I would say. Not the prettiest showing from the Devils tonight. I still think there was a few, wrinkles defensively. I thought offensively they could have been a bit stronger. Not, this wasn't the dominant game that you saw during that 8-game win streak, but a win is a win. The Devils will take it, and they do it, in kind of emphatic fashion, winning 4-1. A lot of lines there. Playing well, good cohesion on that first line, especially. The Devils will certainly take that win, and doing it, in lopsided fashion. Let's go into the comments, shall we, folks? Let's go into the comments. I'm kind of looking at both the comments and I'm looking at the World Series. This is like a watch the World Series with me kind of thing too. I'm not going to do like the whole play-by-play thing, but like Freddie Freeman's at bat right now. Obviously, a good postseason guy. Not that you guys care too much, but I know that they talked about this a lot in the stream or on the broadcast today. So hey, we'll talk about it ourselves too. But anyways, let's go dive into these comments. Dr. Gusev says the Hallinan thing. Jay-Z says, let's go. I'm Devils fans. That's the sentiment right there. And by the way, Jay-Z, no relation, I'm sure. But that's the sentiment from Devils fans is let's go. How I got here, Jeremy Proper says, I think the lack of contract was really weighing on Marky's mind. No doubt about that. I mentioned that again on the intermission stream, which you guys can go check out the replay of that afterwards. But that must have been something that was just weighing over his mind. Will I get paid? How much will I get paid? What will the term be? That's something that can really affect a player. But now that you see it, it's like in baseball. I'll give a baseball analogy since the World Series is on. It's like when you have like a bat weight on and then you take that bat weight off. The pressure's off. You can start swinging it more fluidly. That's like Jacob Markstrom tonight, getting the victory and charging the Devils to victory there. Let's see how I got here. Jeremy Proper says played much better. Chalowski did. Yeah, I really liked what I saw from Chalowski tonight. He stops that one goal when the Kings were like hemming it in the Devils zone. I think they were down the Kings were down like 1-0 at that point. So that was huge. Boxes out Corey Perry there. Markstrom with a nice save there as well. But yeah, I had the nice box out there. Glendening also had some nice defensive effort there as well. Really strong game from Chalowski. I liked that. Lou says it right because we got to give Dawson Mercer his flowers. What an awesome start to the season for this kid. He's got 13 points in these first 12 games. Is it 8 or 9 goals, something like that? He's been on fire to start the season. This is a player too that I have to, in my long scroll of Devils apologies that I have to give out at some point, at the premier top of that list being that I was wrong about Alexander Holtz. Dawson Mercer's on there too. I thought I wrote him off as a player. I thought he would just kind of become maybe a middle six floater or something like that. No. He is not only proving that he can be in that top six, he's proving that he can score on any of these lines, right? And he can thrive on any of these lines as well. I think the Devils prefer him being in the top six. I think they'll continue to roll with that, and that's fine. But he is rolling right now. Dawson Mercer is on fire, so you like to see that. And Vegas P11 echoes that by saying Mercer is playing with that dog again. He sure is. And he's tenacious too. I mean, look, you see him, there's a reason he's on the penalty kill. Good defensive player, good 200-foot player, strong in the forecheck. Dawson Mercer's becoming the player that the Devils drafted him in the first round to be. And that's really great. Gerald York, who DM me, and I forgot to answer you, Gerald, but I will read your DM right here. Says, I'm going to read your DM to me first, and then we will talk about your comment. He said to me, I think I figured out what was going on with the centers in the first period. Jack and Brad basically have been double shifting. I've seen each of them centering the top three wing pairs. Keefe is sprinkling in the fourth line and Lemico when needed. So there you go. That was what we were talking about that on the intermission stream, like what was happening, why there were so many double shifts going on there. Gerald York notices that. But he says here, that was a $9 million goal tonight. Again, the Devils know this. This is why they handed him that high AAV. When Markstrom is on, he is on. And that's the reason, they want to get that goal, and you want to see more consistency there, and you want to see him stay, healthy and everything like that. But they know that goalie is in there somewhere, and if they can squeeze out that potential, and if they can, maximize him with the reps and split those reps there with Allen, I think you can get a very, very rock solid um, goalie tandem this year. Let's continue on. Zach Chin says, "Thanks for the follow, Nova. No problem, Zach. Always appreciate your support, my friend." He said, "Markstrom went ape shit tonight. A very solid win considering the pieces were missing. Let's steamroll the Ducks and come home with 20 points on the season." Yeah, it was funny. I was looking, and it was like I was like, "Wow, like Devils are already almost at double-digit wins on the year." That would be, they're obviously will probably be the first team to get there unless Utah's won. I don't know if they've won the past couple of games. Um, it would be awesome if the Devils came home from this road trip with a 2-2 record. I said that early on. I said that before they went on this road trip that I would be completely satisfied with a 2-2 record off of this road trip. They're able, if they can beat the Ducks, who they should beat tomorrow. This ends up being a really good road trip. And you know what? Tell you what, to do it with the injuries that they've sustained, Connor Brown being out tonight, they kind of had to, I know that James Nichols described it like this. They had to run with like a penalty killed by committee kind of situation. Um, and for them to face all those power plays that they did tonight, a good gutted out kind of win for the Devils tonight. They gutted it out and they still like lopsided score sheet there too. So you like to see that and let's hope they can for Devils fans' sake, let's hope that they can continue that hot their hot play into tomorrow's game as well. Beachmaster says Mercer's ripping, yeah, boy. That shot that he had too on that first shorthanded goal that he had tonight. I can't believe I could say that that first of two shorthanded goals that he had tonight. What a freaking shot, man! He ripped it past. Why am I blanking on his name? Why am I blanking on Darcy Kemper tonight? That was awesome to see. Let's keep going. Nick Santola says, "What a night for Markey. Huge response and picked up a point. I totally wasn't screaming in anger when they signed him or anything." Devils, this is my question for the chat right now. Devils fans who were pissed about the deal, are you still pissed about the deal? I want to hear from you. Again, I'm pretty agnostic to it. I'm pretty like, okay, I'm fine with it. It just kind of is what it is to me. They get it for 2 years, and that's the big selling point for me. That's the key there, getting it for 2 years. But I want to hear from Devils fans that were pissed about that deal. Are you still pissed about it? Did tonight give you more hope? Let me know what you think. B not 13 says, "Appreciate the stream, but I hope you can you got this baseball games on a side screen." I sure do. I'm blown away that the Blue Jays were not able to capitalize on that bases loaded opportunity. That's crazy. Canada's freaking out right now. Let's see, Andrew Kalor. What a start to the year by Mercer. He'll be a massive difference maker for us as the season goes on. Just so much better. Again, a player that I, quite honestly kind of wrote off because it just looked like two back-to-back ugly seasons for him in a row. And then last year, looked like a confidence issue with him because, missing a little bit of training camp there, new coach. Maybe, you don't want that stain to kind of stay with him during the rest of his tenure here with the Devils. He's been awesome. He's been awesome this season. So hats off, stick taps to Mercer, because I think that I wasn't alone with in kind of writing him off. Let's continue on. Andrew Kalor again says Markey earning his extension night. He sure is. And getting the primary assist too. The funniest stat of the year is that the assists on that that Mercer goal. It is primary assist from Jacob Markstrom, and the secondary assist by none other than Brendan Dillon. Funny little locker room tidbit for you guys. So the other day, I was talking to Brendan Dillon. This is before the road trip, obviously, and I said to him, I asked him a question about the hot start and everything like that, and he said to me, he was like, "Oh yeah, like guys, I feel like guys are not trying to like play outside of their own game right now. Like they're trying to." Dougie Hamilton's playing like Dougie Hamilton. Dawson Mercer's playing like Dawson Mercer. Jack Hughes is playing like Jack Hughes. Nobody's trying to do things that are kind of out of their comfort zone. And I was like, I interrupted him. I was like, dude, are you serious? Like you are playing like Cale Makar right now. This was after he scored like in back-to-back games. So little funny locker room tidbit for you guys. Stan McCune says Markey's issues tend to be how he handles glove side saves and giving up too many rebounds. Yes, his Markstrom's glove tonight was unbelievable. So yeah, great point from you there, Stan. And I'll tell you what, like, look, maybe we see a more confident Markstrom going forward now that he has the proverbial monkey off his back with this contract situation done. We will see how he responds to this going forward, but a hell of a start for him tonight in the post contract era. Damien from the land down under says Jacob Markstrom, nothing motivates me more than money. Probably yes. I could totally see him saying that because that was a great showing from him tonight. Andrew Kalor says Sieg's looking off to start the year. Some plays he just looks lost. He had a nice assist tonight. But I said this last stream as well. Like I think that it's been an ice cold start for Siegenthaler to start the year. I think there's a lot on him, a lot of the defensive responsibilities on him. This is a team that just needs Dylan back in the lineup to have more of that defensive edge there. Or not Dylan. They need Kovacevic back in the lineup to get more of that defensive edge there. Obviously, they need Pesci as well. A lot of pressure on Siegenthaler to start the year here, but yeah, not the strongest start to the season for him. Gerald York says that's a big win. I have to say, I wasn't too confident going in. Always helps to have your goalie steal a game. Look, that was the game the Devils needed. They needed a strong night from them team wise. They needed a strong night from Markstrom. You can't extend Markstrom and have him lay an egg the next day. Especially because it kind of felt like they kind of like sneakily, put that contract out there, doing it during a World Series game, doing it during kind of like on Halloween night. So it was kind of bizarre the way they did it. So for them to come out and kind of win and make a statement in doing so, and Markstrom to make a clear statement in doing so, is relieving to see. I'm going to pull up the nerd stats for Markstrom. He saved almost 3 goals above expected tonight, 2.92. That is really, really good. He was not in. Basically, he was. The advanced metrics say that 3 goals should have gone in, and Markstrom stopped them. So that was a really good stat line for him. Noah, my man Noah says, what did I say this afternoon? Momentum swing and a big time game for Markstrom. Huge W. Noah this afternoon called this a must-win game. I didn't really agree with that because it's early on in the season and they already have so many games, so many points in hand. But the Devils will take a win. That was a really good win for them tonight. Duck Gusev said, Chalowski first Devils point in the Hallinan goal. Yeah, and a great little play for him to stop that goal from going in and boxing out Corey Perry. That was really good. Mikey Mike says underrated storyline. Holy hell, Jack's defensive game is underrated. There was a sequence, I think it was in the second, where Jack kind of went like he didn't go coast to coast, but he showcases, like when they say 200-foot game, Jack showed why it's called a 200-foot game tonight. He has an awesome possession. He strips the puck in the D zone, skates all the way down the ice, and has an awesome showing in the O zone as well. He is an underrated defensive player. I think that's like a national thing where like people don't really, like people that watch Jack Hughes just think he's like an awesome, like off the rush guy, zone entry guy, and just does, magic in the O zone basically. No, that defensive game is underrated as well. For the new people in the chat or anyone that's new to the stream or anything like that, forgive me for this awful goatee that I'm rocking right now. It was for a Halloween costume. It was for my Walter White Halloween costume. I went all out. This will not be the case unless you guys like it. Unless you guys say you like it. But the Devils are 1-0-0 when I do rock a goatee. So I don't know. Maybe I have to keep going. Noah says, also nice little play by Lemico on one of the penalty kills. Get rid of him, though. Force someone to take his spot and give Casey a chance at wing. Oh, here we go. Okay, it only took 11 games for somebody to mention that Casey needs to move to the wing. I'm shocked. It only took 2 games of the Seamus Casey era that somebody said to move him to wing. That is, I don't think it's going to happen. I wouldn't be opposed to it because he did well at college, and I think it'd be a fun little experiment. But no, I don't know. Direwolf says Markey Redemption Tour has left the station. So glad we didn't sell on Mercer. Got to keep it rolling tomorrow. Thanks for doing this, Ryan. Easily best Devils coverage we have. Thank you for your kind words there, Direwolf. I really appreciate that. And thank you all for tuning into the chat. And Direwolf, you're always in the chat, so I appreciate you more than you know. The Marquee Redemption Tour certainly left the station. And I'll tell you what, too. Great point there on the Mercer thing. Because I feel like the Devils for years have been not dangling him in trades. Teams have been wanting to poach him in trades. The Devils stayed firm. That was always their big thing, is they're not giving up Mercer. I think there have been some crazy trades throughout the years that not that the Devils could have made, but I think in a lot of these deals, like San Jose wanted Mercer for Timo. That's just a fact. I want to say that Calgary asked for him in the Markstrom deal. Devils stayed firm, and now they're experiencing the fruits of that labor and keeping him. So that's really good. Andrew Kalor says Devils PK back up tonight. They had to be. I mean, they had to be, because first of all, ugly showing against Colorado. Really, really ugly showing against Colorado. The first time since 2001 that they gave up 4 power play goals. And then tonight they get the did the Devils get a power play tonight? I don't think they did. Like, that was crazy. The differential in penalties tonight. So that was striking to see. But the Devils Devils penalty kill rather stayed firm. So that was positive to see, because that's what propelled them in their big winning streak that they had. Sorry, I lost the comments. We have so many comments that I lost the comments. Luke FYB says also refs got something against the Devils this year. Yeah. It's funny too, because I looked up like penalty minutes wise, and maybe there's a better stat that someone could tell me, like to check the penalties this year. It seems like the Devils have gotten a lot of penalties this year, but then I checked the penalty minutes and it was like, they're pretty low on the chart there. So maybe other teams are just more penalized than others. But yeah. Duck Gusev says didn't end up factoring in, but the refs were brutal tonight. Oh my God. How about that tripping call? I forget who went to the box for that. Was it Gritzuk? I forget. But it was Anderson on the Kings, and he tripped over his own foot. He tripped over his own toe, and the refs called it. That was pretty bizarre. So yeah, total ref show tonight, but didn't matter because the Devils got the win. They, strong. That's what strong special teams will do for you. Larry Blumenfield says Mercer, yes, he's scoring is great, but he still makes too many stupid mistakes. The first 2 goals of the Sharks game were on him. Good point, but again, hottest start of his career, so I think that the Devils will be fine. They'll live with some of those mistakes because he's doing so excellently in the offensive zone. We are past midnight here, guys, and thank you so much for tuning into the stream. We're not going off. I'm just thanking you guys. Be sure to like and subscribe if you haven't. Tell your friends if you could. It would be really helpful to grow our channel because we have a lot of fun on these streams. And I'm really happy that you guys are tuning in droves here on this West Coast road trips. We can't wait for these East Coast games to get back up because these have been tough. Next game they have, next weekend they play the Penguins at home. It's at noon. I'm not going to be there, but I'm still going to be streaming. I'm going to be in Oklahoma for a little family trip. But the stream lives on. I can't wait for that stream afterwards. I'll be streaming you live from the beautiful plains of Oklahoma. So that's going to be fun. Maybe I'll go to some fun location there. It's like in the middle of nowhere. Vegas P11 says, can anyone keep up with the Nico, Jack, and Brat line? No, that is like the gauntlet line. That is craziness. I love when he does that to get a little push of offense there. I love when teams do that, when they just throw their 3 best players out there online. Those guys too. Like, if you see those guys on a line, how are you stopping that? That's crazy. Dubzilla says, what a great night for Markey. As I said, he's the man. Dubzilla, a believer in Markey early on. So there you go. Noah says it's also fantastic to see they finally overcame poor puck clearing chances. No matter how frustrating the games continue to be, they never win games because of that struggle. So that's nice to see too. Yeah, the Devils kind of stunk at clearing the puck in the past couple of games, especially, and even during the winning streak. I think there were some times where they kind of failed to clear the zone. But that is good. That is good. Positive sign that they did that tonight. Nick Santola says, yes, it was so rushed. Are you talking about? Oh, you're talking about the Mark. Okay, we're getting to the Markstrom comments. Were you the question that I asked if you weren't here was Devils fans? Are you still pissed about the Markstrom deal? Because I know a lot of people were last night. So we'll see. Some people still saying yes, that they are still pissed. Noah says the deal is whatever for me. Too early to say. That's exactly how I feel about it. Noah, again, as I mentioned on the stream earlier, it's just one of those things that's like, okay, the AAV is what it is. At least you got it for short term. That's what it is. Like I'm not married to Markstrom as a player. I think he's fine. I think when he's on, he's really on, and when he's off, it's like glaringly off. Like he gave up an 8 spot the other day. But stay a little more consistent and stay healthy, and we'll be fine. And be good in the playoffs like you were last year. Gerald York says, I was pissed about the deal, but if he plays like that, the contract will be a steal. Sure thing. Yeah, sure thing. I mean, you probably won't get that here and there, but we'll see. Dubzilla makes a great point, says defense still was very suspect. Shaw has to get this under control. They have stopped cycling completely. Guessing Pesci ran that for the core after these 3 games. Have you spoken to the coaches yet? I haven't spoken to the coaches yet, but and talking to people across the team and stuff like that, and keeping, texting people in that team across the league and stuff like that. The defensive collapse has been noticeable, and you see that with the stats too. You see that with them giving up so many goals. Thank goodness they were able to keep LA to just 1 tonight, because Colorado and San Jose had their way with the Devils the past 2 games offensively. By the way, how about San Jose beating the Avs? Like that's when it happens to good teams. They lose to the Sharks. That Sharks team is pretty spunky. So we'll see. Lou says, I think a single game is not going to earn Moncrief that contract. He just needs to stay consistent. Of course, Lou. But you know what? So here's a little saying that I like to say. I picked this up from a little sports talk radio show based in Boston. We have a show to do today. So let's talk about the ramifications of the contract today. Keep going on. Zach Chin, what was up with the mixing of the lines after the first period? My heart sunk when I saw Brad on the ice with Lamico several times. Yeah, as our friend Gerald York pointed out, he kindly DM'd me during the game, and he said, there was just a lot of double shifting going on. Don't know the exact reason. Maybe Keith will be asked about it. I didn't watch the Keith presser tonight because I was going live immediately, but potentially. Duck Kusev says that Markstrom and Palat have the same number of points. Yeah, that's a bit on the nose, isn't it? They also have the same contract. They also have the same AAV. Nick Santola says Palat and Markey have the same. Damn, Palat having 1 point while the top line is insane, and not just the top line, that top line. Again, I think for a little bit there, especially during that streak, Palat had some value. He was forechecking nicely. He was creating open space for those 2 guys. But you started to see the welts there. Nason is so much better of a fit there. By the way, let's check out the. I want to see these numbers for that line, because it was crazy at one point in the game. Let's see what they finished with. This game going to go 18 innings again? That would be crazy. Let's see Devils forward lines. Corsi. All right, so I guess they ended up letting a little bit more, but LA again was a bit better offensively than I thought. But it was 19-13 the shot attempts wise. Oh man, that Mercer, Nico, and Timo line was 3-15 shot attempts wise. That's pretty bad. Let's move on. Dubzilla says Larry, the first 2 shark goals were not Mercer's fault. He's having a great season so far. All aspects of his game is improved. Yeah, no, exactly. I think that even if he was at fault even a bit there, the Devils will take it if he's off to this hot of a start. Victoria says, I can't believe I missed the game. Seems like it was a good one. The vibes are back, Victoria, I would say. I think that the Devils fans are back a little bit after going through a bit of a lull there. Still some injuries and still some defensive kinks that they have to iron out, but Devils fans are certainly high after that one, I would say. Let's say, Noah says, even though the first line didn't get a point tonight, I absolutely love how much more aggressive Nason is than Palat. Yes, I was just about to mention, I said this, I was going to say this before I even finished your comment. It's like the net front presence there that Nason adds is exactly why you put him on that first line. Jack is so good at dishing it to the dangerous areas on the ice that, Oh, is this a walk-off? Oh, no, no, okay, it's LA's at bat. I haven't been watching. Oh, that's crazy. Holy crap, Will Smith. Will Smith, solo home run. The Dodgers are winning. Um, Anyways, yeah, that's why you put him there because Jack is so good at dishing it to the dangerous areas. Jack Hughes at his best is Jack Hughes when he's dishing it to those dangerous areas. Is Jack Hughes the playmaker? Jack Hughes the passer is better than Jack Hughes the goal scorer, even though Jack Hughes the goal scorer is really good this year. So for him to have Nason there, get Nason a little hot maybe to start the season. The chemistry with Brat's been off the charts, so you're going to see that line uh, pot a lot of opportunities. I think if depending on how long they stay together. Mikey Mike says every time I see St. Louis lose, I just think about how amazing Kyrou would be on that top line. A guy I mentioned earlier today, Kyrou. I think that would be a great fit. It'd be filthy with that top line. Victoria says Dawson has been so good. I hope he stays this good all season. He'll go through his lulls. He goes through his lulls sometimes, but um, again, this start to the season, it's reminiscent of. Do you guys remember whenever he was involved in like those Timo trade rumors, and he just went on like a ballistic pace? Like I think he broke maybe like a Devils like record or something like that. For it was like some bizarre Devils record where it was like a point streak. It might have just been like a point streak record. I don't know. But that was really cool to see. This reminds me kind of that that hot start reminds me of this that start or that end of the season that Mercer had there. Dubzilla 47 says forwards were really the defense tonight can't be maintained long enough. Yes, Dubzilla, I think it was you that mentioned it. The blue liners are just not cycling. That's been concerning, especially when like you just have one guy go down, and it you know completely thwarts the rest of the unit. That just shouldn't happen. Um, let's see. Gerald York says, "Bro, you can't shave until they lose." I guess so. Like, I guess I'll keep this bad boy going. Tom Fitzgesus says the goatee is that bad. Don't let Slippin' Jimmy get in your head. Yeah, screw Slippin' Jimmy. Um, Dubzilla says, "Thanks for the show, Novo." Dubzilla, thank you. Um, let's see. Questionable officiating again tonight. Annoying. Yeah, and then I'm gonna bring up like what Andrew Clore says. That tripping call, that phantom tripping call was explained it well. Let's see. Victoria says the refs have been questionable since the season started, so I'm not surprised to see. So I'm not surprised if it happened today. It sure did. I know you said you'd missed the game, Victoria, but it it was a ref show tonight. The Devils were able to charge through that. Larry Blumenfield, good point, Dubzilla. Take that, and take not. He was demoted to the third line despite scoring. Um, Dan Altano says need more from Paul Cotter. He's been invisible. Love his game typically, but he hasn't been able to. Yeah, it's so interesting because I always thought of Cotter as, you know, one of like the perfect player that this Devils teams need. This Devils team needs a guy that can keep up pace skill wise, a guy that can keep up pace speed wise, a guy who has grit, and a guy that like he always has this like underratedly weird skill that like appears once every 2 games or something like that, once every 5 games, where he'll just like deke in front of the net and like really show off the mitts a little bit. And then other games will just completely shut down. This year he's been, more shut down than anything. So yeah, I want to see more from Cotter there. He went from being one of my, players that I thought would be kind of underrated coming into this season to will he be the one coming out of the lineup whenever you get Dodonov coming back? So I don't know. You want to see more from him. Mikey Mike says fourth line, but not great. It has not been great all season. No matter who they slide out there. But Hallonen getting the goal tonight was good. His first of his career in the NHL. Victoria says, I think the worst part about that deal was it was announced after he gave away 8 goals in a game. We will see how good or bad the deal is in the future. That's what I said at the time too. The worst part about this extension, I think, the Devils could have saved themselves a whole lot of PR headache if they didn't just if they didn't announce this after a terrible game, an 8 spot that he gave up, and B, don't do it on Halloween night. Come on, it just feels news dumpy. Don't do it while a Canadian team, the Canadian team, is in the World Series, while the national insiders are tuned into that. It's just bizarre. Let's see. So yeah, timing wise is really weird. Rick Roma, I love a win when Hughes and Brad have 0 points. Need those. Great point. Great point. Vlad Guerrero's at bat right now. Let's see what he can do if he can tie this game. Blue Jays need it. Yeah, the Devils showing that what they can do depth scoring wise. Getting Halland a goal tonight, getting 2 Mercer goals tonight, both shorthanded. That is what you want to see. Because Jack and Bratt can turn it on any game. But what can you do when you don't have them? That's what's really going to separate the Devils this year and going forward. Gerald York, that first line of a tough third period looked great. The first 2 though, for sure. Today, Markey did earn that contract, and I wanted to show. Yeah, that was unfortunate. I think a lot of fans share that sentiment that they wanted the shutout there. So you're not to be blamed there for thinking that. Victoria again. Victoria, thank you for being so active in the chat tonight. I think the worst. Oh wait. Oh crap. Did we already read that? What the heck? Sorry. Dan Altano says, "What's the latest on Cody Glass? Any updates?" I don't have an update for you right now. He's one day closer to being back in the lineup. That's all I'll say. I don't really know right now. Then I'm not going to pretend like I do. Nick Santola says the game reminds me of the Kings game in 22 where they tied it late. Yes, good poll, Nick Santola. I remember that vividly, actually. Yeah. Let's see. Zach Chin says, under no circumstances should Dawson ever be traded. He's the only dude on a roster. Yes, another great point. Oh, Vlad Guerrero gets the double. Holy crap. Great stuff for the Jays. Rooting for the Jays because the Dodgers annoy me. I'm a Red Sox fan, but the Blue Jays never bothered me. Yeah, great point there, Zach. Listen, not only is he, turning it on this year, but he's a guy that can stay in the lineup. He's the Devil's Iron Man, right? Like he stays in the lineup and he plays well into the postseason as well. So that's really good to see. Very durable player. Noah says, I'm interested to see how they handle back-to-backs again. It worked out well the first time, especially with this questionable play. Perfect test for the potential momentum they can grab back. Yeah, and they have an interesting little swing coming up here. They got the Canadians who are hot after that, the Penguins who are hot after that, then the Isles and Blackhawks. So those 2 should be winnable. But these next 2 games are going to be tests for them. After the Ducks game. So we'll see what the Devils can do there. But the back-to-back test is interesting as well. Good note there. Let's see if they can get it done. Victoria is tuning in all the way from Argentina. How freaking cool is that we have international viewers here? I'm blown away by that. I love that. Packed Central says Hal's lack of Aselli was awesome. All business, and that goal was all business too. There was no flair there. It was just a good goal. Let's see. And the interview at the intermission was good too. Could tell there were some nerves there, but he was pretty humble. Hallinan with his first goal tonight after showing a right hand from hell versus Toronto. Yep. That was really cool. I remember that fight against Toronto was really cool. Let's see. That gave the team some juice. Can someone superimpose a picture of Fitz on Jeopardy contestants text saying what is depth scoring? That's a good Photoshop little prompt there, Zach Chin. I'm sure someone can appease you. Hopefully, that's an easy one to do. Maybe I'll even do it. Noah says, speaking of shorties by Mercer, when's the last time somebody got a hattie with 3 shorties? The empty netter would have been the third. I don't know the answer to that off the top of my head. Noah, we talked about this. Maybe that'll be your little research assignment that I give you. So go find the answer to that because that is a good little trivia question. Because that I don't know when that's happened, but I'm sure it has because if it came into fruition tonight, almost then almost surely it happened. But yeah, it's a good little trivia question. Last couple here, then we can wrap up unless more people want to join the stream, unless the comment section gets flooded again. Hey, it's Chris says Markey looked great after that contract signing. Defense looked very leaky, but great win. Love that Dog is looking great in form to start the season. Defense certainly leaky, Chris. That was concerning tonight. Bradshaw's got to get something figured out there because it has been leaky the past several games. Dan Altano says, do you think the Kings deciding to play the World Series in the Jumbotron took the fans out of it? How weird was that? It was like a lull in the game, routine save or something like that, and then you would just hear the pop of the crowd. I thought I thought it was kind of cool. But and look, it's game 7 and with the hometown team. If this was like game 5, I don't think they're playing that on the jumbotron or anything. Um, but that was yeah, I bet you it did take some of the fans out of it, right? It was really weird. But cool little environment, cool little wrinkle. Well, guys, that's it for the comments. So I'm going to say that will do it. Thank you so much for tuning in to Speaking of the Devils. Please, 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 please be. Oh, we got one more. I wish Gritsuk scored on that potential break when all the fans jumped up for the tying over. Would have been very funny, especially if it was Gritsuk. Like that would have been great. But anyways, let's wrap it up here. Thank you so much again for tuning in to Speaking of the Devils. For Ryan Novozinsky, once again from the home studio right here in New Jersey. Everybody have a great night. And before I go, be sure to like and subscribe. If you have not done that, do it, or I will come hunt you down. Please, please, please like and subscribe. We want to grow this channel to really big things. So we would appreciate that. My bosses would appreciate it. Thank you, everybody. Have a great day.